What's happening, everybody? I'm Todd Tanner. This is Wrestling News Now. Well, let's get right down to it. Let's talk about what's happening within the wrestling world as a whole. There is backstage heat on WWE's Braun Strowman for recent comments. Also, WWE's Michael Cole comments on what it's like to no longer work for Vince McMahon. AEW Dynamite. The November 9th edition of this year, ratings have increased from last week, and there's a spoiler on a steel cage match to be added to AEW Full Gear. Dragon Gates La Estrada to wrestle at MLW Blood and Thunder event taking place in Philadelphia. WWE NXT, the November 8th edition, draws solid ratings against strong election night coverage. And finally, WWE is planning to feel oozy for a while. Let's start with the backstage heat with Braun Strowman. The heat on WWE star Braun Strowman is very real after his recent social media comments. Several WWE stars, including Ricochet and Mustafa Ali, took to Twitter to essentially mock Strowman's tweets about wrestlers who do high-flying moves. Others who are not in WWE, such as Chris Jericho, Will Ospreay, Keith Lee, and others, have commented as well, so needless to say. There are people all around the wrestling business who were not in agreement with Strowman. Fightful Select reported today that Strowman has been on his best behavior while backstage since his return to WWE, but social media. Braun has been another story, and WWE management is said to be aware of it. Fightful stated that at least one person in the community stated that Strowman took an immature approach. It was noted that none of what Strowman said was part of a storyline or angle, but it was suggested that Strowman could be ribbed or referenced on commentary for his stance. One wrestler stated that the tweets shouldn't have happened and that Strowman didn't come up in the business doing high-flying moves, and so he probably doesn't understand. Wow. Listen, y'all, there's never a dull moment in the wrestling business. So WWE's Michael Cole comments on what it's like to no longer work for Vince McMahon. Veteran WWE broadcaster Michael Cole appeared on the Pat McAfee show earlier today. Cole talked about McAfee taking a break from SmackDown to do College Day Game Day. When we had that phone call that night, I was incredibly excited for you because obviously Game Day is Game Day. I hung up that night and it was like I got kicked in my gut because we have developed this amazing chemistry. Then I thought about it for a little bit. And I actually called my wife and she's like, "You're being incredibly selfish here to feel like that." I'm like, "Yeah, Pat's my buddy and he's a real close friend of mine and this is incredible for him." Then obviously we had the talk 24 hours later and we moved on and life is good and hopefully we'll see you back soon. Now let's talk about Cole talking about no longer working with Vince McMahon. What's that like for Cole? Well, let's check it out. I worked under Vince for 25 years and I knew nothing else. He was like a second dad to me in many ways. I grew up in the company. It was a shock when it first happened. I think we've all settled in and we've realized, hey, the show must go on. That's what Vince always said. The show is going on and we're doing it. And we're doing well. Cole was asked if he was worried about the threat near Saudi Arabia for Crown Jewel. Not at all. There was a threat, but we were in the capital city of Rahija. We had assurance from a number of different places, including the State Department. Wow. This is kind of awesome here. Well, in the sense that Michael Cole finally realized that Vince McMahon is no longer there and he's not coming back anytime soon. Moving on to AEW Dynamite, let's talk about the ratings for the 9th of November. The ratings are in for Wednesday's AEW Dynamite. The show drew 930,000 viewers, up from the 911,000 viewers the show drew last week. In the 18 to 49 demographic, the show did a 0.32 rating, which is up from 0.29 last week. Dynamite ranked number 6 in the top 150 shows on cable for the night, down from the number 3 ranking last week. Last Wednesday's show faced competition from MLB World Series on Fox, did 11.8 million viewers and a 1.93 key demo rating. That episode was Dynamite's lowest total viewership in its normal time slot since July 20th and the lowest key demo rating since June 15th. This week, Dynamite was only behind the NBA and U.S. midterms coverage for the night. Brandon Thurston of WrestleNomics reported the news, so here's the breakdown of each demo for the show. Viewers 18 to 49 last week, 0.9. Female viewers in the ages of 18 to 49, 0.21. Last week, 0.19. Male viewers 18 to 49 years of age, 0.42. Last week, 0.38. Viewers 18 to 34, 0.24 rather. Last week, 0.22. And the list goes on and on and on. So as you can see, the demographics there, they change a lot, but that is the nature of ratings. When you have ratings and you're ratings driven, you have to do what you have to do. So here's a spoiler alert on a steel cage match to be added to AEW Full Gear. On Wednesday night, AEW taped this Friday night's Rampage episode that will air on TNT from the Guinness Arena in Boston, Massachusetts. In the opening segment of the show, it was confirmed that Luchasaurus would wrestle Jungle Boy in a steel cage match at Full Gear. Jungle Boy issued the challenge, and Luchasaurus accepted it. Christian Cage made personal insults aimed at Jungle Boy's parents. Jungle Boy grabbed him by the throat, and a brawl broke out. Cage set up a chair, and Luchasaurus choked slam Jungle Boy right through it. Now, let me just say this. You got to have an equalizer here. I know some of this is ribbing, and at the same time, I understand it's scripted, blah, blah, yada, yada. But you know what? You can't have all the bad guys, a.k.a. the villains, always getting away with all the crap every week. You got to get Jungle Boy some credible help. He needs to have another equalizer to the same equivalent of Christian Cage. That's something to think about. Because after a while, it's going to get pretty boring seeing Jungle Boy continuously get jumped, kicked, choke slammed, and beat down each week by someone who's obviously much bigger than him. And the whole angle sometimes is stupid. It makes no kind of sense. Now back to the story. The three wrestlers have been feuding for months after Cage attacked Jungle Boy after Jurassic Express's unsuccessful AEW World Tag Team title defense against the Young Bucks at AEW Dynamite. Luchasaurus turned heel and sided with Cage. Luchasaurus attacked Jungle Boy at AEW All Out, which led to Cage beating Jungle Boy. Cage is currently not cleared to wrestle due to an injury. Now let's move on here. Dragon Gates La Estrada to wrestle at MLW Blood and Thunder, taking place none other in the city of violence, Philadelphia. ain't no love in Philly. MLW issued the following. Dragon Gates La Estrada added to Blood and Thunder, taking place January 7th, event featuring a Fusion TV taping. So, you can get your tickets at MLW2300.com. That's MLW2300.com. So, Major League Wrestling today announced Dragon Gates La Estrada will be in action at MLW Blood and Thunder this Sunday. So, wow. I think this probably already passed, but anyway, might as well just talk about it. So, the card is a Fusion TV taping airing on BN Sports nationwide on cable and dish streaming on Pro Wrestling TV in over 60 countries around the world. Hot diggity. The bridge between MLW and Dragon Gate extends this January at La Estrada as La Estrada makes his Philadelphia debut at Blood and Thunder. La Estrada is one of Dragon Gate's most promising stars. A cutting edge high flyer, Estrada mixes Japanese wrestling and lucha for a thrilling blend of blistering speed and innovation. A high caliber middleweight, legal officials are in talks with several middleweights about a potential big fight for Philly with Estrada. Estrada's goal is simple: represent Dragon Gate with excellence and perhaps win gold in his campaign of combat in America. Wow. All right, let's talk about the WNXT ratings here. So, the ratings for the latest edition of WWE NXT are in. The show drew 664,000 live viewers on the USA Network, which is down from the 670,000 viewers the show previously drew a week ago, according to Brandon Thurston of WrestleNomics. It did 0.15 rating for the demographic of 18 to 49. The show did a 0.13 rating 1 week ago. NXT was expected to get crushed by coverage of the midterms in the United States, as all the top news cable channels dominated the night. Instead, the show delivered solid ratings. The USA Network and WWE should be happy with these numbers. And last but not least, the WWE is planning to fill Usi for a while. On November 5th, WWE filed multiple trademarks for a popular term. The company filed trademarks for the terms Usi and filling Usi with the United States Patent and Trademark Office. The trademarks are for merchandise and entertainment services. Here are the descriptions. Mark for filling Usi trademark. So it will contain registrations intended to cover the categories of clothing, namely tops, shirts, jackets, sweatshirts, hoodies, outwear, namely coats, bottoms, pants, shorts, underwear, dresses, pajamas, lingerie, clothing, ties, scarves, gloves, swimwear, Halloween, and masquerade costumes. Footwear, namely shoes, sneakers, slippers, etc., etc., and etc. So the Usi trademark registration is intended to cover the categories of entertainment services, namely wrestling exhibitions and performances by a professional wrestler and entertainer rendered and through broadcast media, including television and radio, and via the internet or commercial online service providing wrestling news and information via a global computer network, providing information in the fields of sports and entertainment via an online community portal, providing a website in the field of sports, entertainment, information, fan clubs, services, namely organizing sporting events in the field of wrestling for wrestling fan club members, organizing social entertainment events for entertainment purposes for wrestling fan club members, providing online newsletter in the fields of sports entertainment, online journals, namely blogs, in the field of sports entertainment. So there you have it for this edition of Wrestling